Hi guys, I wanted to do this video to kind of just catch you guys up on my 2020. I think it's been months since I uploaded any video and I can't even remember what was the last video uploaded. I think it was the Chanel unboxing, right? So 2020 obviously has been an interesting, crazy year for everyone. I don't think there's one person whose life isn't affected by the pandemic, and you know, no matter what you might be going through, I'm sure there is some element of the pandemic affecting you in one way or another. My story is not so much about the pandemic, although you know it has affected us in a few ways, but it's just a journey that has been challenging. It has tested my everything and I wanted to give you like a very high level summary of what has happened, just so that you are caught up, because I know so many of you you know, you actually care about me. I don't know, I feel very honored. I have so many of you messaging me on YouTube or on Instagram asking how I am and stuff, so I just completely just went missing in action. Let's start from, you know, the real reason why, you know, what I've been focusing on. So I've briefly mentioned it, I think, in my previous update about when I told you how why I left my job. But one of the main reasons is because we are just trying to expand our family. We want, you know, more than one child. I've always wanted 3 children, but you know, I'm okay to have 2 children, for example, but I just wanted like a friend for Mika. I didn't want him to grow up alone. So as difficult as it is for us, because we have to go through IVF to have kids, I really wanted to do it just so that we can make it happen, and I wanted to do it while I still could. So that was actually one of the main reasons why I left, because I was in a job that was very, very stressful. It was only going to get more stressful if I were to, you know, go ahead in my career and stuff, and I just didn't have the mental and physical bandwidth to deal with IVF and everything that comes with it, and with that and I also wanted to focus on Mika, who is growing up, and I just, you know, the first few years are basically something I wanted to be there for him. We started this whole journey in 2019, like January or something. It was very early, so it's been like a 2-year journey, and we've had 2 IVF like full cycles, and we've done 3 transfers. The first time we did it, nothing happened, and like, you know, I didn't get pregnant. I thought I would, and I was very overconfident, because with Mika we got pregnant like the first time, and you know, it was just like I was thinking, okay, I'll just do it again, but we didn't, and it was very devastating for me, and that was one of the reasons that triggered me to rethink about my priorities. And then we did it another round. By the time we had to do the whole transfer and everything, I already left my job, so I was in a more like, you know, less stressful zone. But so it did end up in a pregnancy, but we had a very devastating miscarriage in December in 2019, the beginning of December, and I think that was the hardest thing I've ever had to go through in my life. I would not dream on that. It's just so painful in just so many ways, like mentally, physically. It was just, I just, no one should go through a miscarriage. It was just very, very painful, and yeah, it was another life-changing event that I had. So anyways, we still had 2 embryos left that we could transfer. We were actually contemplating on thinking of just restarting the whole thing over again, get the best quality of embryos and stuff, but my doctor was, you know, he was, I believe in statistics, so he said that he has had successes with lesser quality embryos, so we decided to just go ahead. with it. So this was already in like beginning 2020, when, you know, COVID was kind of like sneaking up onto Singapore, and lo and behold, we had to stop our entire cycle because the hospital we go to is NUH, and it's a public hospital, but it's like the best hospital, and for, you know, for reasons I can understand, they had to focus their resources to COVID, and assisted reproductive treatments, which includes things like IUI, IVF and stuff, those were not essential. That was another decision that we had to make. Do we wait for NUH to be ready for us to do the IVF? The rest we just had to, at that point I just had to transfer it back in, but still the process takes about 4 to 6 months. So we were wondering, do we do that, or another option could be that we do it in a different hospital. So I don't know, I think my husband wanted to wait, but I was very impatient, and I just, you know, I wanted to I had a plan, like I have a timeline of what I want to do through, like I have a 5-year timeline, and I wanted to do it quick. And so we actually did the whole transfer. We ended up doing it in Mount Elizabeth. I think it's called Mount Elizabeth. It's the one in Orchard Road, and we had like the most fantastic doctor there. She's amazing. She's one of like the top IVF doctors in Singapore. Very expensive, but very amazing. And we went there, we did a whole like transfer of the embryos, which was like really tricky and stuff. And also, like, we were encountering problems of getting the medical courier to get the embryos from hospital A to B, because, you know, most of these couriers are actually based in Malaysia, and they couldn't come in because of the whole Malaysia Singapore, like, you know, block. It was quite a journey, and it was finally there. We had to do a couple of procedures and stuff, and then we did a transfer. And by the time I did my pregnancy test, I think it was about like May or June, thereabouts, and I was pregnant. So I was very happy. I really took it easy during the 2-week wait, but I was also very cautious because of what happened with the second pregnancy. I didn't want to like over celebrate. I didn't want to have dreams about what might be. So I was very cautious until, you know, I was telling myself, until the first trimester is done, like I still need to be very, very careful. We did have a scare. And this scare happened like even before the first scan was done. So it was even like, it was super early, like before 4 or 6 weeks. And I still remember, like, I felt like I wanted to die because I was bleeding, and I was just telling myself, no, not again, not again, not this time. Why is this happening to me? I just really, like, I felt like my whole world was like just crashing down again, because I knew I wasn't probably strong enough to go through something like another miscarriage again. We went straight to the doctor, and this is one thing, like, if you're ever going through any health issues or whatever, the moment you find something that's not right, just go to the doctor. Because we went there, and luckily it was during office hours, her clinic was still open, and because it was a private clinic, we could just see the specialist like right there and then. And I remember I was like crying, like from my house all the way to the doctor's. I was crying in the waiting room, because it was a lot of blood. So I really thought that I have lost the baby. Then she did a scan, and she was like, oh, that's 2. And so that's when we found out that we were having twins. She could see that one of the twins was like, I don't know, the twin was not as, like, something was probably happening, and but there was still a heartbeat, and both had like healthy heartbeats. And we kind of had an inkling that there might be 2 babies, because the score or the numbers that I got from the pregnancy test was very high. I did my own little like research on Google, and I have a very dear friend on Instagram that who's like a super nurse, and she advised me on that. We didn't want to like assume it. We wanted to do the scan, wait for the scan, and be like properly surprised. But you know, when I was going there, I was thinking, oh, maybe one of them like didn't make it, and then what's going to happen, how are they going to flush it out and stuff. So yes, they use the term flush it out, which is just so horrendous. So we were very lucky that we went there in time. So she just got me into like doing all these hormone shots. She shot up my progesterone shots a lot more that week, and we were able to basically like have the 2 babies growing healthily. So that was an episode. I continued with my pregnancy, but that was when everything kind of went like, I wouldn't say downhill, I would say just it was a very challenging pregnancy. So I was having the worst symptoms. Every symptom that you hear about, I had it throughout all 3 trimesters. But the first 5 months were the worst, because I was having the worst nausea. Oh my goodness, this morning sickness was just debilitating. I couldn't do anything. It was just so horrible. And I was just literally like living minute by minute, day by day, waiting for the time that I can just sleep at night. And then because when you sleep you don't feel the nausea, but it was just really bad. I had restless leg syndrome. I had a lot of anxiety. I really tried to do a lot of meditation and all that, but it was just really bad. And the thing is, it didn't stop after the first trimester. It just went on, and after the 5th month it got a little bit better. I was starting to do things slowly, but until the 8th month, when I gave birth, I was having nausea. Like I was having basically morning sickness throughout. So I remember like the first trimester I already lost like 10 kg, and you know, throughout my whole pregnancy I was still like way lighter than when I was before the pregnancy, because I couldn't eat a single thing. Towards the end of the pregnancy I could only eat 1 meal a day. So anyway, it was just a very tough pregnancy, and that's the main reason why, you know, I couldn't get on YouTube or Instagram, because I couldn't give an F about all of that. I was just like, okay, this is the season for me to just be pregnant and focus on the babies, and just not to be too hard on myself. So I just accepted that I wasn't really going to achieve much other than catching up on Netflix and YouTube. The pregnancy actually went pretty well. We didn't have any issues. My doctor, we did move back to NUH after my first trimester. That was always like, we were very open with the doctor at Mount E, and you know, she was totally cool with it. Main reason is, number one, we just really love NUH, and we've been with this doctor for so long. And number two, price. Like, it was just getting too expensive for us. So we moved back to NUH, and everything just went really fine. Just, you know, other than I just had to tolerate my pregnancy symptoms, like everything to do with the babies were fine. Carrying twins is very different from carrying a singleton. It was definitely getting harder and harder physically and mentally for me, but I was motivated to keep on going because the twins were doing really well. Every scan that we had, and even the last scan that we had, which was at about 28 weeks, the sonographer was like, yep, they are doing really well, the fluids and everything looks fine. My doctor was like, who is usually quite a realist, he was very optimistic about it, and he's like, yeah, I think you will be able to carry them, you know, through the whole pregnancy. And the next scan was supposed to be at 32 weeks, and everything was going fine. And then one day on Sunday, when I turned 31 weeks, I had contractions. I thought they were just Braxton Hicks, you know, you hear about this term, but just something told me that something was wrong. And because I've had contractions before with Mika's labor, I thankfully knew what contractions felt like. Basically, it feels like really strong period cramps that comes and goes. And thankfully for that, and my mom and my sister-in-law were like, yeah, just go to the A&E, because it was coming in every 5 minutes, and it was like okay, not that painful, maybe like a 4 level of pain out of 10, but I just knew something was off. And I was telling my husband, like, yeah, let's just go to the hospital, because we don't lose anything from doing that. We just check them and just make sure to see everything's okay. And literally we left with one bag. I had my like usual bag that I bring to the hospital. I had like little things. I thought I would be there for like maybe till the end of the day, so I brought my iPad, I brought stuff, and I thought they were just gonna monitor the baby for a while and then give me medicine and then go back. Little did I know that we went to the A&E. Within 1 hour or so, I ended up in the operating theater. And I was apparently having contractions. I was, and one of the babies was already descending downwards, trying to escape. I was already 3 to 4 centimeters dilated, which is crazy, because with Mika's labor I was induced, and it took me like a day to even get to 3 to 4 centimeters dilated. And apparently I had a high fever, which I did not know. I didn't realize I had a high fever. I was feeling very like heaty and a little bit like sick, but I didn't know I was sick. But my fever was like 38.6 or something. It was crazy. And so I was just, the doctors, like, and again, amazing medical team. And you know, the doctor was super decisive. She called my doctor, just like yep, she needs to go, she needs to be wheeled in, we need to take them out, because she knew that something was up, something was wrong. So I have already braced myself for a C-section, because I was already planned with my doctor, but I did not mentally prepare for like an emergency birth at 31 weeks. Now, preterm labor is the #1 thing that I was scared of, because I didn't think I was strong enough to handle that, as well as the babies being in the Nicu. And I just, like, I told myself I'm just not dealing with that, because so I was trying so hard to prevent preterm labor. I was really hoping that I could carry them to at least 36 weeks, at least 37. I was actually thinking 37, but yeah, for twins, full term is about 36 weeks. So I broke down in the hospital when I was in the bed, and the doctor was like, oh my god, what happened? I was like, I was just not really. So both births I broke down before I was wheeled into the operating theater. The first one was because I didn't expect to have a C-section. The second one was because I didn't expect to have a C-section at 31 weeks. So it was very, it was all too much. I was just focusing on trying to, like, because I have pretty high like anxiety levels and stuff, so I was just trying to calm myself down during that. Everything was just really fast. And then they had to do general anesthesia on me because of the fever that I had. They didn't know what infection I had, because they knew that I had some kind of infection. They didn't know what it was, so putting an epidural in my back and doing local anesthesia would risk more things. So they just did general anesthesia, which is, on hindsight, like, and even foresight, like, I actually didn't mind general anesthesia. Like, you just sleep and then you wake up, everything's over. Because contrary to popular belief, you do feel things during a C-section. You feel tugging and pulling, and during my first C-section I actually did feel some pain because there wasn't enough morphine and stuff. I don't want to scare anyone, but that's the truth. So I was actually kind of okay for them to do, and on hindsight it was really good, because apparently when the babies did come out, I'm getting goosebumps right now, you know, Myra, who's the girl, she was not doing well. So there was a lot of drama with her. There was a lot of like resuscitation, and like she was just not in a good state, because she got infected by whatever I was infected with. She got infected more by it, and that's why she came out first. And then Martin, on the other hand, was doing a lot better because he was more upwards, he wasn't like downwards. But in any case, I woke up like hours later. I didn't know what happened, haven't seen my babies, and my husband also hasn't seen the babies as well. And I just spent the next 3 days just trying to recover from the C-section. I looked at videos and pictures of the babies in the Nicu. My husband was smart enough not to tell me the full picture during the first day, and then it was only, I think, the second day in the afternoon, and I was really determined to recover fast from this C-section as well. So I was really pushing myself to start walking on the second morning, the second day in the morning. And I got to see the babies, I think, the second day in the afternoon, and I was really like, it's very emotional in the NICU, and very emotional when you get to do things that you take for granted. So for example, when we left the hospital, I actually managed to do kangaroo care with Martin, and when they were taking him out of the incubator, I was really like tearing up and like crying. And then when I still remember, like when we first, like, because when they are in the NICU, they are all tubed up, and you know, it's not like, I think anyone would cry, you know, when they see a small baby in that state, and let alone I'm the mom, and you just feel so helpless, you can't help them. So anyway, right now it's NICU life. We got discharged from the hospital in about 4 days. We were there for 3 nights, and then after that we've been going back and forth to the NICU every day. We take turns, and the 2 babies are doing, like, they are improving every day. So every day they've showed signs of improvements. Myra is slowly catching up in terms of her health with Martin. Martin is, like, you know, getting even stronger and stronger. So now the focus is to get her to his stage and for him to gain weight, for both of them to gain weight really. And yesterday I actually got to do kangaroo care with Myra for the very first time. She was actually she got out of her incubator for the very first time after birth as well. So it's really quite emotional, and you know, it has definitely been an emotional ride, like the last few days. There's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons. On hindsight, there's so many things that, you know, you like, obviously I didn't want to go through this preterm birth, but if I didn't go to the hospital when I went, something might have actually happened to one of the babies or both. And then if I went like any later than I did, both of them could have gotten really sick. So, and the situation right now with me is I'm focusing on pumping, breastfeeding, not breastfeeding, like pumping, and I'm focusing on eating whatever that I need to. My mom's been helping a lot of you have given me really good suggestions on what to eat and stuff, and it actually does help. And I got like a proper tutorial from a lactation specialist this time on what to do, because the first time I breastfed Nika, it was just horrible. Like, I didn't know a single thing, like I didn't know what I was doing, like, and I feel like every woman should have a one-on-one tutorial with a lactation specialist, because it makes such a huge difference. I was with her for only like 5-10 minutes, but like totally game changer. So yeah, right now that's what I'm focusing on, back to BAU for Mika, business as usual with him and his developments and stuff, but also just fast forwarding all the preparation that I need to do for the twins, because you know, now I feel better. Like now that my C-section is like, you know, recovered and stuff, they took out the stitches and all. Obviously the first few days of recovering was, you know, just horrible, but now that that's done, I actually feel really good. I actually feel like my old self again. I'm smiling again, I'm making jokes, you know, I'm just in a much better mood. I have a lot more energy to do things with Mika. I can actually do all the preparation that I wanted to, but with a lot more energy. And because they are showing improvements, there's not too much worry in my mind, but of course we always know that, you know, NICU is a NICU. They are in intensive care, so there's always a worry about them. There's always, you know, you're always thinking about them, and you're always probably, you know, wondering about the long-term effects of prematurity that might have on them that you might not see anymore. So there's a lot of things that might worry you, but no point of really thinking about it now, because there's nothing much I can do. All I can do now is just be happy, because then the hormones will go into the milk, just focus on the milk and just try to keep myself as positive and as healthy as possible. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's why I've slowly crept back into Instagram. I've been doing my Insta stories, my posts, and I do have another Instagram page which I've dedicated solely to talking about all these type of things like motherhood, toddlerhood, where I talk about IVF, NICU. So it's called Real Mom SG, and it's just an outlet for me to meet, to pour out my thoughts, but to also meet like-minded people. So I'm kind of separating like the Fifi stuff, which I'm probably thinking of changing the name as well soon, because I find that name to be a little bit childlike. So I might change that soon. So that's going to be more around, you know, the more, I would say, yeah, it's more superficial stuff, like, you know, shopping, makeup, maybe work, a little bit of work stuff, maybe just lifestyle kind of stuff. And then in the Real Mom SG page would be where I am talking more about the other part of my life, which is basically the key part of my life at the moment, about motherhood, etc. So yeah, that's what's been happening. So obviously this is just like a very high level thing. Each of these things that I just told you about probably deserves like a video on its own. I'll see if I can get to that, but I just wanted to do this to just give you guys an update. And I want to thank everyone who has been giving me support and advice and just encouraging me to go on. I get such sweet messages from all of you. You don't even really know me, but you know me, you get me, you know, and you've taken time out of your life to actually drop me a message, which I can't even like begin to see how much I can thank you. So anyway, that's that. And yeah, so on this YouTube page though, I've decided I'm not going to make a separate YouTube channel for that. I'm just going to keep it all within this YouTube channel, because it's not like as if I have like 12 million subscribers and I need to split them. But no, so I guess you will start seeing more of these kind of content on this page. If it's not relevant to you, like, you know, then just watch the other stuff. Of like, there will still be hauls and all the makeup and the whole superficial type of things that make me happy. So just watch whatever is relevant to you or if you find it interesting. And yeah, that's basically much it. So I also hope that you're all doing very well. I'm looking forward to catching up with you guys on your comments and your messages. So I really miss you, and I'm really glad to be back. And thank you for watching. Bye.